Morning guys and welcome back to I Like Watches 2. I've been enjoying producing little mini videos like this recently and posting them on I Like Watches 2. It's enabling me to produce some slightly more casual but also more diverse and interesting and unusual content, and you guys seem to be enjoying it, so I'm going to carry on. In today's video I'm going to give you 6 reasons why I think you guys should be considering spending your watch money on vintage watches like this. This is my most recent vintage purchase, and it's prompted me to think, well, why am I so intrigued and interested in buying watches like this? So I've made a list of reasons why I enjoy shopping for vintage watches like this, and I'm going to share all those reasons with you now. This, by the way, is a 70s hand-wind Citizen watch, sort of new old stock condition. I paid around £230, £240 for this watch prior to importing it into the UK. So this perhaps isn't the most affordable example, but it's my most recent one, and it's the one that's prompted me to produce this video. So yeah, thought I'd show you this one first, and I've got some other watches out to show you. And I'll use these watches, I guess, to back up my 6 reasons why I think you guys should be considering buying vintage watches. And the first reason is the hunt. Quite often when you get watches like this, the most fun part of the whole journey was actually looking for it, finding it. Remember when you were a kid and you were writing your Christmas list? That was, for me, sometimes the best part of Christmas, was just trying to decide what I wanted Santa to bring me. And that feeling has carried on when it comes to sort of looking for watches like this. Part of the thrill is in the chase, it's in the hunt to find, sort of new old stock watches like this that, okay, not the most affordable, this one, but still, I think they could represent fantastic value for money. And some of these are far cheaper than this one. So yeah, the hunt, it's awesome. I love looking for watches like this. And the second reason is, rarity. How many people own a watch like this? There's not going to be too many Seiko Elnix watches out there, in this sort of condition, certainly. This is a battery-powered automatic movement, so there is a balance wheel. There's no quartz crystal inside of this watch, but there is a battery, and they didn't make these watches for very long at all. So finding these watches in this sort of condition is not going to be easy. Once you found one, not too many people are going to own one. And this watch brings me on to, the third reason. The styling. I mean, just look at this thing. Not only is this, I guess, fairly rare, but they just don't tend to make watches like this anymore, do they? It's really, really cool. I mean, look at that crystal. You've got sort of 3 facets on it. And again, it's a battery-powered automatic watch with a balance wheel. Again, they just don't tend to make these sorts of things anymore. So it's quite unusual, and just really, really interestingly styled, isn't it? Cool bracelets, and oh man, I just love them. Absolutely love them. Look at it. It's cool. The fourth reason is, the movements. Not just the diversity and, I guess, the unusual aspect of them. I mean, like that one, for example, the battery-powered automatic movement. But just the fact that they're built so well. This is a Seiko QR. Inside of here, you have a very reliable and hard-wearing quartz movement. This 38 series movement was the first sort of mass-produced quartz movement, and Seiko went all out to make this thing absolutely bulletproof. It's made very much like a mechanical watch. It's full of metal parts. It's very serviceable, and it's just built like a tank. The quartz crystal and movement inside this watch was built to an unbelievable standard, which is why watches like this continue to work. I've actually taken the battery out of this one because if I'm not going to wear them, I tend to leave the batteries out. I don't want the batteries leaking and ruining the movements. But this movement inside of here is incredible. I've actually produced a video on this watch. I'll put a link to that video and in the video description, and I discussed the movement at fairly decent detail, or in fairly decent detail, because it's just a really, really cool bulletproof quartz movement. And if you're a mechanical fan and you're not a fan of quartz movements, I bet you once you've watched the video on this watch, you will be a fan of these quartz movements, that's for sure. The next reason is value for money. And although these watches perhaps don't represent the best value for money because, well, most of these are going to set you back between £200 or £300, sometimes perhaps more if they're in new old stock condition, which I still think represents good value for money. But if you really want to talk about value for money, it's watches like this, the Timex Marlin. These watches from the 60s and 70s you can find in incredible condition. And they're going to cost you well under £100, under $100 even. This is a new old stock watch that did cost me a little bit more because it's basically an unworn example. Yeah, this watch I think was well over £100, but this one was around £100. Again, fantastic condition, and it had been fully serviced. I'm really not seeing any issues with this watch whatsoever, but you can pick up good examples of Timex Marlin watches, yeah, for well under £100. And yeah, they're really cool, interesting watches. They're 50, 60 years old. I think they just represent unbelievable value for money. And the final reason is that, well, these watches have the potential to increase in value. And watches like this one, for example, are just going to get more and more difficult to find in this sort of condition. And if you look after it and you keep it working and you fix any issues that may come up, there's no reason why in time you won't be able to sell your vintage watch collection for more than you paid for it. So yeah, you could spend £200, £250 on a watch like this, which is very much like the Seiko Elnix, a battery-powered mechanical movement with a balance wheel. And this one actually has a really cool feature. If you turn the watch upside down and press the crown in, the date advances, or the day advances, I should say. And if you put it the right way up and press the button in, the date advances. I mean, that's just cool, isn't it? So yeah, I guess another reason to be interested in vintage watches is some of them just have really cool features that you don't see anymore on mechanical watches. But yeah, I mean, they could actually go up in value. So you could buy watches, enjoy the hobby, and in the future, turn a profit. So if those 6 reasons aren't reason enough for you guys to start considering picking up watches like this for your collection, well, I don't suspect anything else I'll say will make you consider it either. And to be honest, if you're not interested, that's fine, because that means there'll be more watches like this for me to find and buy and add to my collection. Look at this King Quartz. Beautiful. Right, guys. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. Obviously, there are downsides to buying vintage watches. There is more risk involved, and yeah, more things are likely to go wrong. But we weren't here to discuss that today, were we? I was just trying to give you the positives. Right, guys, happy shopping. You'll see me again very, very soon.